Hello my gorgeous makeup loving friends, I hope you're having a fantastic day and a great start to your weekend. My name is Teresa and I love all things makeup, beauty and skincare, so on the weekends I like to hang out with you guys and talk about the newest releases in that category. But of course there's so many releases in that whole genre that I frankly don't want to cover all of them. So I have to say a massive thank you to everyone who helps me to streamline that. So how do I do that? You guys tag me, DM me, email me with the stuff that you want me to talk about. So a massive thank you to everyone who has done that. Your names are being displayed right now, and also a massive thank you to my YouTube community members. You're a very fantastic lot and I hugely appreciate you and all of the other things that come along with it. So actually, as you're watching this, the 3rd of May, which is hopefully as you're watching it because that's a Saturday, it's my birthday as I'm filming it. This is the last few hours of me being 34 because frankly my week got away from me, and normally I would film on a Thursday but it ran away from me, so I'm doing it on a Thursday evening. Don't even talk to me about how quickly I'm gonna have to edit it, but this is the story. So I'm 35 now. It's all very exciting, but this is where I remind you guys that it's very important to stay hydrated. As always, I have tea in a tea mug. Literally, it has the letter T on it. It's very exciting for me. So get your beverages, get your snacks, and we'll head straight on into it. The first thing, rather inexplicably, is Charlotte Tilbury has done a collaboration with Genshin Impact. Now, I will say I don't know anything about that particular IP, but I know some people who feel very particular about this. And frankly, if you'd asked me who I thought they were going to collaborate with, I would have thought it would have been something like Sea Beauty sort of vibes. Charlotte Tilbury was not on my list. Anyways, according to Charlotte Tilbury's website, they have 2 new beauty boxes featuring never seen before collectible treasures, and it is a limited edition. There's the Starfell Treasure Kit, which is €65, and it includes Charlotte's Magic Water Cream, a 15ml tub, Airbrush Flawless Setting Spray, 34ml, Charlotte's Magic Serum Crystal Elixir, a deluxe sample. A sample. Guys, come on, that's ridiculous. Genshin Impact Eye Mask, Genshin Impact Compact Mirror, Genshin Impact Small Pouch, and then there's in-game rewards, which are apparently only valid from the 30th of April to the 30th of July of this particular year. Now, I don't really get what that's about. It's something to do with a computer game. I have no idea. The other thing then that they have is the Starry Miracle Kit, which is €195. That includes Charlotte's Magic Cream. This time it's a 30ml tub, feeling very generous. Cryo Recovery Eye Serum, Charlotte's Magic Lip Oil Crystal Elixir, Genshin Impact Stickers, Genshin Impact Tote Bag, Genshin Impact Pin Badge, Genshin Impact Headband, a Genshin Impact Makeup Bag, and Genshin Impact In-Game Rewards. So same as like the previous one in the sense of the in-game rewards. Okay, where will I start? I'll start off with the €65 set, which is the Starfell Treasure Kit. I'm going to say something that applies not just to this kit, but to the other kit. I'm shocked at the price because I think it is so much for what is in there. I mean, the fact that they have the audacity of putting in a fucking deluxe sample into this that somebody is paying money for, that is ridiculous. And then like a teeny tiny thing of magic water cream, not that that's even that good. You can't say that something is magic and then have it be mediocre. I will say the setting spray is actually pretty good, but the rest of it, like an eye mask, a compact mirror, a little pouch, how is that worth €65? I'm so sorry. Like, it's all stuff that we've kind of seen before, and what's really annoying is like you can't get these things separately, so you'd have to just go and get the whole lot. They're really banking on people getting the 65 or the 195, or even in some cases some people getting both, because let's be real, these are the sort of IPs that people do tend to get like really passionate about. Like, would I pay €65 for that set? Absolutely not. I think that is frankly criminal to ask for that amount of money for that. Like, it is wild. I don't get it. Then the second one, €195. They have fucking stickers in there. Stickers. Could somebody explain to me where the breakdown of this is? By the way, I've tried that Magic Elixir lip oil thing, and I did a bad makeup science years ago on that because I got really weird about it, and they were like, oh, it visibly removes lines, etc. And I got really weird and I did statistics on it. Don't even ask. But it was rubbish. It's overpriced nonsense. Are you that surprised? But to ask for €195 for that, I am sorry. Do you know what? Just wait. Wait until another brand gets their little hands onto this particular IP. Like, I'm sorry, I'm still like processing that she has the audacity to say, I want €195 for a cream, an eye serum, a lip oil, some stickers, stickers, a tote bag, a pin badge, and a headband. Oh, and a makeup bag. What the heck? Like, the profit margin on that must be absolutely obscene. Like, if you spread those out in front of me and said, Teresa, how much do you think that should sell for? I personally think the €195 one should actually be €65. And the €65 one should actually be like 30. It's wild. I don't get it. Now, I feel very frustrated for people who really like this IP because it's so priced out of most people's budgets that I don't get it. It just doesn't seem like the sort of collaboration that makes a whole lot of sense, at least to me anyways. Obviously, I'm not getting this. I really don't like that they're doing the whole it's limited edition. And they've been really lazy about it, just taking existing items and just kind of going, here, like their eye cream and bits and pieces. Like, it is lazy AF. They've put like no thought or consideration into it. I hate it. Thanks. But they also have a couple of other things coming out. This is their Lip Cheat Contour Duo, and there's 4 different kind of contour duos. They are available right now for €28. They say that they're hydrating, long wearing, and plumping. And by the way, formulated for all skin tones. Look, whatever. It is what it is. I do like that it's kind of like a duo. That's kind of smart in the fact that it's like a contour. So you have one that's a little bit warmer and one that's a little bit cooler. That's quite interesting. I do like their lip pencils to date, so I don't hate this idea, and I do like that this is kind of given some slightly 90s vibes. Now, the way that they've done this is that they've formulated them for fair, medium, tan, and deep skin tones. So that's what you're seeing there from left to right is fair, medium, tan, deep skin tones, which is grand. I feel like probably with a lot of those you could get away with whatever. And over on the website they've also kind of gone, oh, you could pair this lip liner with this particular lipstick if that's what you're interested in. I feel like €28 isn't bad for a dual-ended lip liner. Probably what would annoy me is if I liked one colour more than the other and then I had to go and replace it. I'd be really annoyed because I'd be like, I'm not using this one as much as the other one. Do you know what I mean? But obviously this is meant to be for lip contouring, which I personally don't do, but I know that there's some people that are really great at that and that's their jam. That'll be fantastic for them. I don't dislike this. Now, the shades themselves aren't like wildly interesting to me. I wouldn't really get much wear out of them. Like even the fair one, I'm like, I kind of have shades like this already. I have a crazy lip pencil collection. Let's not even get into that. So for me, I'm just like, whatever. But sorry, maybe this is just me being whatever, but they did their Genshin Impact thing, but there's also obviously this lip liner, and then there's like a lip gloss thing and a couple of other things which I'm frankly like, Charlotte, chill out. Like, we don't need to have all of the ideas at the same time. But could like one of these not have gone into the Genshin Impact or something similar-ish? Like, would that not have made a bit more sense? I don't know. It feels a bit like, I don't hate this part, but I feel like Charlotte Tilbury is kind of cranking out too many things at the moment. And when you're an expensive brand like that, I just personally don't get it. Like, it doesn't make sense to me. This one, I don't hate it, but I'm not like, oh my god, must get this, which is unusual because you know me, I'm looking at lip liners constantly, but there's none of these that I'm like, this is the perfect shade for me. So we're all right. The next one is an obligatory C Beauty one. This is Insbaha and Hello Kitty Punk, and this is available over on Look Healthy store at the moment. It doesn't seem to be over on C Beauty Mall, but there's a couple of other places. Look, you know the general drill. Have a little look in my description box. It has all of the affiliate links in there if you do want to get anything. The story is here that there's kind of essentially 3 components to this. There's the Mono Punk eyeshadow. There's 3 shades. They're €16.77 each, and they come in the shades Half Sugar Nebula, Summer Overture, and Island Day Snow. We then have the Moist Punk lip glaze, and there's 6 shades. What's kind of strange about this is that there's 3 shades that are a soft mist microlight lip glaze, which essentially gives you a sort of a cloud souffle texture. So think kind of, you know, the Kaleidoscope lip glaze, a little bit like that. And then there's there's 3 shades that are listed as mirror. So this will give you a high gloss crystal frozen glass lip, which is a lot more glossy. So the shades that are more the souffle lip are Interwoven Bouquet, Clear Berry Wine and Wood Chestnut. And then the 3 shades that are more mirror are Mist Rose, Bionic Pomelo and Yesterday Smoke, and they're €19.42 each. And then there's the Moist Punk Liquid Blusher. There's 3 shades of those. They're €15 each, and they come in the shades Peach Whisper, Sweet Apricot and Spring Neon. And I kind of thought to myself, surely they'll do a bundle. Yes, but it's not a bundle of all of the items. Essentially, you can get a 3-piece makeup kit that has varying parts of this, and there's 5 sets. So you can choose from 5 sets as to what you want, and that's €47.68. We'll start in first with the old eyeshadows, because, you know, why not? I will say, I've heard a lot of people talking about Insbaha. Now, I haven't actually bought anything from them, but they do reckon that their kind of shimmery shades are really, really pretty. Do I think that these shades are wildly different than anything on the market? No, but I kind of get where this links in with Hello Kitty. Like, the shades make a lot of sense. I like that there's the mixture of kind of the shimmery shades and then the matte. They look really pretty. Obviously they've them swatched out on the arm, but on the eye they look really nice. Now if you put a gun to my head, which obviously has to happen at least once a week in these particular scenarios, and you said which one do you really want, it would probably be Island Day Snow, because for me that one is the most interesting in that it has that impactful sort of glittery vibe about it. I don't hate it, and it looks like you get a good amount of product in the little compact, so I don't think it's a bad one. In terms of the lip products, I do think that's quite interesting. And you know, the fact that you have the souffle on one side, which is over on the left hand side, and then the more mirror ones over on the right hand side, it's almost like they have the corresponding color. So if you don't want to have a mirror one, you want to have more of a matte, then you go for the stuff on the left hand side. So you don't have to get both, let's be real, that would be ridiculous. But they do look kind of interesting, and I feel like the price point isn't too bad. Now I will say I have more than enough lip products at the moment. The packaging looks very, very cute. I feel like maybe it's just me. Interwoven Bouquet and Clear Berry Wine look similar-ish on the lips. I suppose you could probably kind of accentuate it more with a lip liner, but given that particular lip style, it's not necessarily what you do. Although, now that I'm looking at it more, disregard what I said, because Interwoven Bouquet does look a little bit more orange. I'm looking at this, by the way, on a laptop screen, so take everything I'm saying with a pinch of salt, because sometimes screens do change things. I quite like the look of the mirror glosses, but not enough to kind of go out and get them. I don't think they're bad, and I think my slight issue with this is they're saying like it's Hello Kitty punk, and maybe I'm weird, but I look at these and bar the shade Wood Chestnut from the matte microlight, I don't really see any of these as being particularly punk. They're very springtime, but I wouldn't really see them as being punk. Now, the liquid blushes are very pretty. They're that very pale, very just like a wash of colour, which is really pretty. They've shown them obviously on the arm, but thankfully they've shown them on the face as well, and I think they look really, really pretty. Now the major issue here is of course that they haven't shown this on a diversity of skin tones, so I don't know what this would actually look like, and given the fact that there looks to be a lot of white in each of these blushes, I suspect that on deeper skin tones it isn't going to pull that well. It's probably going to look a little bit ashy, and that's one of the issues that you do have with C Beauty. It does kind of cater towards paler skin tones, which is just unfortunately not as inclusive as you might like it to be, and it's annoying because they do have genuinely very, very interesting formulas. I like the look of these. I'd say probably Peach Whisper is a little bit more my vibe than the others, but yeah, I don't hate it. In all, the collection isn't bad. I just don't get why they're not selling the whole thing as a bundle. Like, that seems like a slightly missed opportunity to me, because if somebody had to go off and buy all of them, like, you would be broke and broken at the end of it. There's nothing here that I'm having major FOMO about and being like, oh my god, I must get this. Now I know that Hello Kitty is like a really beloved IP. A lot of people are really into it. I think Hello Kitty is adorable, but I don't get all like, oh my god, I must go and collect this, which is probably a good thing because I do have very much a collector's sort of an attitude, because, you know, the tism. But thankfully didn't get into that. It's nice, but there's nothing here that's like reaching out to me and kind of going, you must have this particular thing, which is helpful for my bank balance. The next one, can I just say, kind of shocked at this because it's semi-interesting. This is Lancome, and this is their Idôle Café Crush Maxi palette, and it's available right now over on Brown Thomas, which is like an Irish sort of a department store that does fancy things. I love it there, and it's 75 euros. Jesus Christ. So you get a 12-pan eyeshadow palette with matte and glittery finishes, and I took the information from Brown Thomas themselves. This is way more interesting than anything that I've seen from Lancome in a really long time. You know what? I actually can't think of any of their eyeshadow palettes. They've been so forgettable and unmemorable that I literally cannot think. I think they did an Emily in Paris collab years ago, and even that, I'm like, I can't remember what that looks like. This is not bad. Is it wildly exciting? No, but it's about as exciting as Lancome can get. When I'm looking at this, it reminds me a huge amount of Huda Beauty's Desert Dusk or Desert Rose palette. Do you remember that? I mean, that's an old palette. That would be, oh my goodness, at least 7-8 years old, and this is giving very similar vibes. What I found really annoying, and I checked everywhere, even on Lancome's site, they didn't have any swatches, anything like that. Even over on Lancome's site, it isn't there, so it seems to be just like in certain European outletters, so it's on Brown Thomas at the moment, like I said. But there's no swatches, which drives me a little bit nuts. However, they have shown some of the shades on the eye, and it's kind of exactly as you would think. It's very safe, it's very subtle, it's very, I lunch at a fancy place with the girls and we drink our feelings, which, you know what, why not? Enjoy your life. It's all too short, etc, etc. What I find interesting is when I'm looking at the shadows on the eye, I'm like, please tell me that you've used the same shadow across all of those, because if these are meant to be different shadows, they don't look different enough. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're not selling me on the versatility of this palette, and for 75 euro I would want something to be really versatile. And I know that they're saying, oh, we have mattes and we have glitters. Cool, but I can go to like a really good indie brand, or I can go to a C Beauty brand, and I can get all sorts over there with really interesting finishes, really interesting textures, and this just ain't it. You know, it's very much like all style, no substance sort of thing. Like, they've put a lot of effort into the photography of this, of like, oh look, there's coffee and baked goods, and I'm like, I want the baked goods more than I want this palette. It's about as interesting as anything that I've seen from Lancome when it comes to their eyeshadow palettes. But that's about it. Like, there's nothing here that is screaming at me going, oh my goodness, you must get this, it's going to change your life. And for 75 euro, I am sorry, that is an insane price. Or is it just me? Like, that's what, €6.25 per shade. Excuse me. Absolutely not. Right, you can shop your stash and find anything in there. Like, even those of you who have a smaller collection, I guarantee if you went through your stash, you'd be able to find this. If this was released 8 years ago, you know what, it would have done well. Did it take them 8 years to develop this? I don't know. Anyways, it's interesting for Lancome. For anybody else, it would be a failing grade. So it is what it is. We then have Singe Beauty. If you don't know Singe Beauty, this is a brand by Angelica Nyqvist, who is a very well-known, very beloved YouTuber, and they specialise a lot in like indie beauty, etc. And they only recently started with eyeshadow palettes. They came out with one a couple of months ago, and this is their second one. This is the Agate Temptation. Now, all the information that I have right now as of filming is that this is launching in May. The date and the price is TBA. So to be announced, in case you don't know the acronyms. And oh my goodness, this is beautiful. It has the obligatory orange in there because Angelica really enjoys an orange. So you can kind of say, you're like, yeah, this makes sense. I get why this came from her. That green, oh my goodness. Banded, excuse me. Now, I find it very interesting. They've gone to quite a bit of trouble in having those kind of designs on the pans. That generally increases the price of these things, but she's kept the price of her stuff pretty decent. So I'm kind of intrigued by this. She put some swatches over on her Instagram. I'll hopefully be playing that along with that. And I do think they look really, really pretty. Now, I've said this before, right? I appreciate a red shadow in that I think it looks beautiful on other people, right? But I know that if I have a red shadow, it tends to look a little bit odd on me, and I do have to kind of get it to work. So I'm a little bit like unsure. That being said though, my gorgeous, beautiful, transcendently lovely friend, Wilma Fingerdew, did get me the most wonderful palette. Oh god, it'll be about 2 years ago. And it was the Pretty Ugly palette, and there's a red and a vibrant green in it. And I do love the pairing of that. So I think, you know what, I don't hate that there's a red in there. So like I'm of several minds. That bright acidic green is stunning. Like the swatch on that now, it does look like it's a little bit chalky, which is totally 100% understandable, because as soon as you get into a more neon-y pigment like that, it's very dry, right? You cannot find any sort of a neon-y pigment that is going to give you a very creamy thing. So I do appreciate the fact that she's been very very transparent about that. It's exactly what I would expect from that. It looks like it's quite good quality, all things considered, because like I said, like a neon pigment, very, very difficult. That pale green minty shade, almost like sagey. That is absolutely stunning. Now, I was over on Reddit because I am chronically online, and a user by the name of Diana0640 did put this up, and I wanted to share it with you guys. She was kind of comparing the Singe palette versus the Trick or Treat from Odin's Eye. Now, was it about a year ago? Angelica did a collaboration with Odin's Eye for Halloween, and she did the Trick or Treat palette. So that's over on the right hand side, and you can see there's some kind of correspondence there, but you don't have that bright vivid green in there. There's a couple of distinctions. Obviously you don't have to have the two of them. That's wild. I don't think this is necessarily a bad thing. It just shows that kind of Angelica has stayed true to what she finds interesting. And just because it may look a little bit similar, you also have to remember there are inevitably going to be differences in terms of formulas. So if you love the Odin's Eye formula, etc., and you have the Trick or Treat palette, you're probably fine. You probably don't need this. But if you have the Singe Beauty palette that she previously did and kind of went, oh, I really love the formula on this, and you don't have the Trick or Treat palette, which was, I believe, a limited edition one anyways, you could splurge and get this. So I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. It just kind of shows she likes what she likes and she stays true to it. So I personally really respect it. I will say this is probably one of the ones that I've been the most interested in. I do really, really like it. My only concern is that obviously she's operating outside of or inside the US, which kind of makes it impossible. Not impossible. My goodness, nothing is impossible if you really put your mind to it, Teresa. It just makes it a little bit more difficult for me to get because I'm avoiding purchases from the US where possible. I would wonder, because obviously Angelica is a Swedish herself, if she might consider having a branch out of Sweden so that she could get the European market, because I feel like she still has quite a few fans who are in Europe. Like, yes, she's now in the States, but I think she's kind of hinted a few times that she wouldn't mind coming back to Sweden. But like, I think it would be smart for her to have a European base as well, because I mean Nomad Cosmetics has like a European base as well. I wouldn't be surprised if she started thinking along those lines, because she is quite savvy on that. But I think it's a really, really nice palette. It's very, very true to her. At the moment, I'm just being sensible. My bank balance loves that I'm being sensible, but the little like makeup goblin in me is kind of going, feed me, Teresa, feed me. We're now moving on to some more affordable. This is MUA, so it's Makeup Academy. They're extremely affordable, and this is their Kaleidoscope XTRA 24 shade eyeshadow palette, and it is retailing for, sit down, I need you to sit down, €14.36. So less than 60 cents per shade. Take that, Lancome, and you're €6.25 per shade. What even? Wow, right? I have a few things from MUA, and I actually think they're really good for the price point. But part of what I wanted to talk about this is the fabulous, gorgeous Rude Velvet. If you don't know them, you really should know them. They're over on TikTok. They're over in the ad campaign, and they look absolutely stunning. We're going to share some pictures there. And obviously, Rude Velvet is a drag queen, drag artist. Emphasis on the artist. So she'd be really good at pairing colours together and going for the brights, etc. And you can really see that this is such a bright and vibrant palette, yet there's some neutral shades in there as well. So it's quite good for people who are a little bit nervous of these things. I'm going to say this right now. I was impressed with that yellow. My goodness. I talk about this all the time. Trying to get a decent yellow is very, very difficult. And this is a slightly safer yellow in that it's a little bit more mustard leaning. So they're a little bit easier to formulate. But my goodness, like €14.36 for a £24 palette. Like that is absolutely fantastic. I think that's brilliant. Now there's a couple of places that do sell MUA. I believe, Boots does sell some of them. Beauty Bay does, and Superdrug does. If you can get your little paws on this and get a little swatch of it, I would love to know your thoughts on this. This is looking really damn good. And I mean, I can't fault it for €14.36 in an economy that is like crumbling around us. I like this, and it looks like you can mess around with the pans, like that you could pop them out, which I like that. Part of me does kind of get a bit like, oh, but what were the original colours? You can just look, you know, like what were the original shade names of the colours? You can just look that up online. It's not a big deal. I do like the fact that you could potentially rearrange that, or if you wanted to put it together as like a Z palette. Isn't it funny how we still call them Z palettes, even though very few people use true Z palettes? Anyways, that's not the point. But I love that you could potentially do that. This is fantastic. It looks really, really interesting, really, really innovative. So you know what? Don't hate it. Some more affordable stuff. This is e.l.f. Cosmetics, and it's essentially just a shade extension of an existing line. About 2 years ago, they came out with their Halo Glow Highlight Beauty Wand, which we all knew at the time was attempting to dupe the Charlotte Tilbury thing. Whatever. I personally prefer when they're doing their own thing rather than trying to dupe, but whatever. What's interesting about this one is that yes, it's a liquid highlighter, but now it's kind of gone a little bit duochrome-y, which is really interesting. So they have 3 new shades. There's Pink Prism, Holographic Honey, and IRL Angel, and you can kind of see the slight shifts there from the pink to slight purple, the gold to kind of some more yellowy tones. There's the IRL Angel, which goes from like white to pink. There's a little bit of bluey purple in there as well. It's really interesting. Here's the thing, $9 each, at least over on e.l.f. Cosmetics. By the time it comes over here, it'll be more expensive. But you know what? It's not bad. There's Skin Loving 2% squalene in there as well, so not a bad thing. I don't hate this because, I mean, look, it's nice to have some cosmetics that are available, that are affordable, etc. By the time it gets over here, it will be a little bit more expensive, but I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. And I did like the liquid highlighter that I gotten from them that was released that time, God, I'd say about maybe 2 years ago, something like that. I don't think it's bad, actually. And you can kind of see the slight reflex there. They do look really interesting. They are kind of comparing them to the OG finish. The OG one that they came out with 2 years ago was a much more standard plain Jane highlighter. This does seem to be a little bit more interesting. Now what I really, really appreciate is they've shown it on the face, and I'm going to talk through each of those very, very briefly. IRL Angel, oh my god, look at how gorgeous that looks on the model. It looks very skin finishy, and I think what I appreciate about this is that there's that little tone of blue, so it makes it look a little bit glass skin like. I'm going to say it right now, and I hate myself for it because normally I'm not a big fan of the e.l.f. liquid highlights, but for that price point I might end up getting that particular one because I think it looks lovely. It's really, really gorgeous. And then the Pink Prism one, you can kind of see it on the model's face, but it's not as vibrant. You know, I think they're maybe showing that you could sheer it out. I kind of wish they had kind of built it up a little bit more. That being said, it's still a pretty obvious highlight. You just kind of can't see the colour shift as much. And then the final one, the honey one, again, really nice highlight. You just kind of can't see the colour shift as well. But for that price point, I actually think it's pretty damn good. So yeah, I mean, I'm not going to get all 3. That would be absolutely bananas. But I actually think the IRL Angel is quite suited to my skin tone. I don't hate it. I will say the thing that I didn't like about the liquid things before was that little spongy applicator thing, but you can kind of snap it so you don't have to use that. I can't tolerate it. It drives me nuts, and all I can think about is bacteria. I just have such, I know that people like years ago were like, oh look, at you can see it coming out. I don't care. I don't care to see the liquid coming out of the sponge. I don't know why you're all so fixated on it. It's a little bit of an ick to me, but you know, we're all different people and it's totally fine. So I think I'll get one of them, but I'm not going to get all 3 of them because I am working on myself. Yay! But they also have some new Smokey Kohl eyeliners, which are available right now. And here's the thing: $3, three, as in 1, 2, 3. That price, like, even if it does go up a little bit, like coming over here, it'd be like, what, €5 for an eyeliner? That is not bad. This is what I'm saying, right? They don't need to dupe other brands. They can do their own stuff and people will get excited. Do I think that these shades are necessarily super interesting? No, a lot of these are like pretty standard. However, there are 2 shades in particular. I'm going to give you a second to have a guess as to which ones I'm talking about. Limelight and Sky High, which I think are extremely interesting, and I really want to see how they would wear all day. They have their more kind of bog standard ones that most people would want, but I like that they're a little bit different. Like, you know, you could look at the rare Emerald, which is a very, 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 very dark green, which is, by the way, a little bit of a garbled Father Ted reference, except they say very, 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 very dark blue. But if you have the right eye look on, it's just going to pop that little bit more. Like, if, for instance, you had gorgeous, beautiful green eyes, going with Berry Necessary would be absolutely gorgeous, or even Plum and Go. Ugh, love that. If you have beautiful brown eyes, probably vintage denim would look stunning on you. So I actually quite like that these are like little forays into kind of little bits of colour. Price point, perfection. Absolutely fantastic. And they're a pencil. They're actually sharpenable. So it's not like one of those twisty uppy things. I think this is so smart. I'm so here for it. I love it. I think that's actually, it's really, really great. So well done, Elf. We're now moving on to some more eyeliners, but this time it's from MAC Cosmetics, and this is essentially a shade extension of their gel pencil eyeliners. So unfortunately, these are not sharpenable because they're gel liners, so they're the twisty, pushy, uppy ones. But the 3 new shades are super interesting. So they have the shades BANANAS. That's right. It's a Gwen Stefani reference. Who would have thought in the year of our Lord 2025 that I'd be talking about her? Who knew? It's obviously yellow. There's blueberry milk and strawberry milk. Kind of makes you think, why do they not call it banana milk? You know, why shift? Anyways, I really like the colours of those. Now, obviously, this is quite a jump from Elf to this. We're talking about something quite different here. Like, this is a gel liner. Very interesting though. It is a little bit more pricey. It's £22. That's quite the jump, let's be real. Now, they have said it's a gel-like texture with precise glide application, 24 plus hours of wear on lids. You have 12 hours of wear on the waterline. That's not bad at all. Ultra pigmented colour payoff, tug-free, smudge-resistant, waterproof and transfer-proof. Safe for contact lens wearers. You know what? I really like the look of this. Yellow is very, very difficult to get. You know, it's very, very difficult to get when it comes to an eyeliner, but these look super, super interesting. Yeah. Do I necessarily need these? Probably not. They swatch really well. Like, look at them on the arms. They look absolutely fantastic. Strawberry milk on the eye. You can see they've put it just under the waterline. They've done like some really cool graphic art on it. And you can see it is extremely pigmented. I don't hate it. £22 though. I don't know if I'd necessarily pay that. Maybe I'm just getting like really weird. I don't know, but I like it. Then even blueberry milk. I do feel like that's a little bit more like stuff that we've seen. There's something about those shades that is making me think of summer and childhood, etc. Like the pink, the yellow and the blue. They're very like, not primary colours, but like kind of childhood nostalgia things. Maybe it's just me. Feel free to disagree. But that, again, that one is looking really good. Very, very pigmented. So I'm quite impressed with that. Then the BANANAS. I like that they've shown that you can smudge it on the inner eye and it comes off as like a really interesting, almost a bit shadow. And there is a little bit of a neon-esque to it. Now, I wish they'd shown it a little bit more on the waterline. They've kind of mixed it with the black so you can't make it out as well. I've been really intrigued to see what the story is there. I don't hate these. I will say, I really like MAC. You know, I know I'm going straight to hell for that, but I do quite like their products. So, you know, if I had a friend who had, you know, a MAC discount, which I do, I would think about it. Now, I don't need them and I know I don't need them, but like, you know, if my makeup collection died in the morning, which it's not going to, but if we had to start from the beginning, I'd definitely think about these. I don't think they're bad at all. We then have Bella Beauté Bar, and this is essentially a reimagining of their original Smoky Glam palette, but this is much more condensed. So they've brought it down to a 20-pan palette. They have 5 new multi-chrome shimmers where the original palette only had 1, so you can say it is a bit of a reimagining. They have 4 existing duochrome shimmers that have been improved with increased sparkle and shine. So even though they're the same in terms of name and appearance, they are kind of enhanced from what they were, and it's existing curated mattes in our beloved formula. It's launching Monday, May 5th at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and it's going to be $7.75 US. I think this is looking really pretty. I looked at it initially, I was like, they've definitely done this before. It's like, yes, Teresa, it's a reimagining, like they're curating it down that little bit further. I like the look of this. I like a berry toned palette. That being said, I like a berry toned palette, and as a result I have quite a few. I do like Bella Beauté Bar's formula, and at the moment they haven't shown any swatches, so I'm sitting here being really safe, being like, oh yeah, it's fine, it looks really nice, but you know, I'm okay. But that's where Bella Beauté Bar normally gets you, is they show you some swatches and then you're like, okay, never mind, take my firstborn, you know, like, god damn them. It looks really pretty, and I know Deandra Nicole had done some kind of comparisons over on her Instagram, or she had talked about it. I don't know if she actually did the comparisons, but she was kind of giving her 2 cents on it. So I thought that was really, really interesting. I like this, and I do appreciate that there's a good level of depth, a good level of light in here as well. So it's really pretty. I just personally don't need it, and I'm being strong. Somebody give me a medal. It's nice, but definitely don't need. We then have Sacheu. Now, if you don't know who Sacheu is, don't worry, but they kind of came to popularity, I'd say in the last year or so, for their lip stains, where you leave them on and then you peel them off, and they're actually really good. I have 2 of them, and I really, really enjoy them. They are a long lasting. They're really, really good, but they have now expanded. This is their cheek stay in all day liquid blush, and it comes in 6 shades. You get 0.34 ounces, and it's available for $18. There's polyglutamic acid, which boosts hydration and gives a dewy plump look for a fresh finish, and there's peptides in there as well. So you know what, I don't hate this. Now my issue is I don't normally like liquid blushes, but seeing these on, I'm like, oh F you, these look gorgeous. I'm gonna go through each of them. First shade is I'm Cute, and oh my god, is that ever aptly named. This is the most Sabrina Carpenter pink that I have ever seen in my life. Like, that is stunning. Can I also just say the fact that that shade of a pale pink looks that good on a deeper skin tone. Normally that could end up looking quite ashy, but it looks really nice on her. Now I don't know if it could go past any like deeper skin tones than that, but it does look really beautiful. I want that one. I want that one. Now I know that the likes of Boots sell Sacheu and Beauty Bay sell Sacheu. Not all of their stuff, but I'm gonna say it right now, if this comes to Boots, I could be convinced in getting this particular one. The shade I'm Playful. Oh, shut the front door. You're absolutely playful. Look at that. And I love the dewiness of this. Maybe it's just, you know, my skin has gotten quite dry from all of my acne treatments. Don't be too jealous. So I just look at anything that adds in moisture and I'm like, yes, give it to me. I love the look of this. Absolutely. Yeah, I want that one too. I'm sorry, I'm just like making a little mental shopping basket. Oh god, the next one. It's a nude mauve. It's called I'm Guilty. And I'm gonna say it right now, I'm guilty of loving it. I've been really good and I haven't been going for any sort of blushes recently. I've been so strong and been like, no, you're fine. So I don't know what it is that's getting me here, right? I need someone to sit me down and be like, come on now, Teresa. You know, you've said it before, liquid blushes aren't necessarily your thing. You much prefer a cream blush. What are you even talking about? They look so nice in the models, but Teresa, the models are young and they have good skin. You don't have good skin and you're now 35. You have to get with the times. I like it, but I need to be, sorry, I'm just like, this is my inner monologue you're getting right now. Sorry guys. The shade I'm Hot is exactly what you would think. It is absolutely I'm hot. Like, it is gorgeous. I really like the look of that. Very almost sunburny. I don't hate it. I don't hate it. I love that I haven't done this in order. I've skipped from 1, 2, 3 and then gone to 5. Fuck order. I'll do whatever I feel like. The shade I'm Bold is a pink berry. Now I wish they'd gone a little bit more purple. I've said this before. I love a purple on a deeper skin tone, but it's very, very hard to get because most of the time they kind of have like a lot of white in it. But this looks so beautiful. I really like the look of that. I do appreciate that all of them look really, really dewy. I'm assuming that's from the polyglutamic acid that's in there. So like, well done guys. And shade number 4, which we've done 1, 2, 3, 5, 6 and 4, like we're, I don't know, Star Wars or something. This is the shade I'm Flirty. And seeing it on the face, oh god damn it, they're really getting me. This is why I'm always saying, like, you need to see it on the face. Swatching it on the arms, it's only going to give me so much information. I think it's easier for me then to abstain. But when I see it on the face and if it looks really nice and it's giving me all the things that I generally want to see, of like that dewiness, that plumpness, the fact that there's peptides in there, they're apparently vegan peptides from what I could understand. Oh my god, yeah, I like this. Now you don't get a lot in it. It's 0.34 ounces for the $18, so I don't know. And the thing that I find annoying about Sacheu here in Ireland is that even though I can get it in Boots, I have to order it online, so I can't just go in and like swatch these things and see what the story is. So I kind of be taking a little bit of a risk, which it's not a huge risk. It's not like, oh my god, I'm going to have to go and remortgage my house, but like it's a little bit. So I am, as much as I like it, going to wait, and I'm going to keep a little eye out to see what some trusted people online say, and are they vibing with it or not, in which case we'll see what the story is. We are now moving on to sneak peeks. That's right, we're absolutely flying through it today because I'm like, I don't want to be editing all night. I don't want to be editing into my birthday. That's just too sad. This is Nomad Cosmetics, and they've revealed that their palette is based around Route 66, but they haven't revealed the entire colour story. At the moment, they've shown us 8 shades, and it's launching on Tuesday, May 6th at around 12:01 AM Eastern Standard Time. There's obviously loads of codes that you can use to get some money off, etc. Never pay full price, my friends. So the first swatches that they, well, not swatches, the first pans they showed were the green and the blue, and I was like, oh, I like this because I love a green and a blue. And then they kind of showed the pink and the orange and the brown and the gold, and I was like, oh, not so sure. Granted, they usually manage to put it all together and it looks pretty good, so you know, I'm looking forward to that. I'll obviously talk about that a little bit more next week once we see what the story is. I've said it before and I'll say it again, I feel like they have been releasing too many palettes. Okay, feel free to disagree with me, but it's not that long ago that we got another palette from them. Now, I get that obviously as a business, you have to launch things. You can't just be like going from month to month being like, I don't want to earn any money. I get it. Trust me, I get it, right? Do I think it has to always be eyeshadow palettes? No. They did years ago. It was like, I want to say like it was like a nightclub themed highlighter, and it was beautiful, it was orange. They did that, but they haven't done any highlighters or blushes or anything like that. I don't think they need to have an eyeshadow palette be their launch every single time. Do you know what I mean? Like, they've done some little forays into skincare, etc. But I think they need to expand beyond the eyeshadows at this point. They're really into, you know, the whole travel thing, but why not think about makeup beyond that? You know, like maybe some highlighters that are like really travel friendly, stackable things, maybe some lip liners. You know, it's just like, the brand is just eyeshadow palette, eyeshadow palette, eyeshadow palette, and they're very good eyeshadow palettes. Do not get me wrong, I really enjoy them, but it's just like, we don't need that many. We don't, and it's a bit too much. And yes, if you do have to kind of keep pumping stuff out, I totally get it, to make money. I just don't think it should be the same thing all the time. Granted, there's diversity across the palettes, they don't all look the same, but I just think, you know, zhuzhing it up might be helpful. I would like to see that. Maybe it's just me. Feel free to disagree. This next one is a little bit of a sneak peek, and I'm very excited about this. Sorry, I'm stumbling over my words ever so slightly. So this is Beauty Moon Cosmetics, and they are doing a collaboration with somebody, and in their Instagram post they said it's a collab born from pride, colour and unapologetic self-expression and made with love for the LGBTQ+ community. We're teaming up with an incredible LGBTQ+ creator to bring you a palette that's bold, vibrant and full of heart. This isn't just about makeup, it's about visibility, celebration and real support, because beauty should always stand for something bigger. And this is the thing, right? Beauty Moon, this is not their first rodeo. They have collabed with people before. This is not the first time that they've worked with the LGBT community. So this isn't one of those, you know, rainbow washing things. So I really appreciate it. The inside of the palette, quite frankly, what we've seen so far should give you, I feel, enough of an indication as to who it is. Yes, I do know who it is, but it's not my secret to tell. All I can say is I am getting it in PR. I'm very excited about it. And as soon as they actually announce what the story is, keep an eye out. I will do a quick little video about it. I will say, frankly, when they showed this over on their Instagram, if you saw this, they were also playing music along with it. And I feel like that was like a big hint as to who they were talking about, because they were playing the song Sissy That Walk by RuPaul. No, it's not RuPaul. They're not doing a collab with RuPaul, but it's somebody that I very much associate RuPaul with. I don't know if that's a compliment, or take that however you might. I am so excited about this. It looks really interesting, and obviously, you know, we'll be talking about that a little bit more. The very last thing that we're talking about is Glamlite, who are doing yet another collaboration, and this is with Lord of the Rings. They just say it's coming soon, but there's no exact date. They've shown a little video, which I'm showing you guys right now, and it's just the outside of the palette. This, I feel, will do quite well, because to the best of my knowledge, there's absolutely no makeup brand to date, I could be completely wrong, that has done anything Lord of the Rings themed, you know? So it could do quite well. I'm intrigued to see what the story is, you know. She's been doing a lot of collabs, like, you have to hand it to her. I personally don't love that there's so much coming out from them, but I do appreciate the fact that that's obviously a lot of hard work, so, you know, well done. I'm going to reserve judgment because I don't know exactly what the story is, but there you go. Anyways, my gorgeous friends, I did kind of run through that quite quickly because I feel like there were some interesting stuff, but I didn't want to like ramble on about it for too long, because let's be real, we don't need that. Also, I feel like I'm talking a little bit faster. Who knows? I did have a good deal of rest recently because I've been quite burnt out, and I think I'm starting to become myself again. Anyways, this is my favourite comment from last week. I haven't actually responded to a lot of these. I know, I'm so bad. I have read them all. I just haven't gotten the chance to. You see, the thing is, if I heart a comment, it's then YouTube basically says I've read it and it doesn't let me come back to it, so then it just makes it harder then for me to essentially come back and try to reply to it. That's why I haven't, but I have read them and I know what you've said, so I have been keeping an eye. So Brittany said, sorry, this was the longest introduction to my favourite comment. Brittany said, OMG, I relate to the what am I preparing for, LOL. Well, I told my therapist a recession came. I have enough makeup for a decade. She has a hard time with me. Oh, you and me both, quite frankly. Like, the worst thing is I'm actually, like, I'm a behavioural psychologist, and I'm like looking at myself kind of going, oh my god, you have so many issues. Is this the blind leading the blind? What are you doing? But thankfully I've never gotten myself into any sort of financial issues when it comes to like acquisition of makeup. But I think we have been collectively as the people just put into this thing of like, we must buy all the things, we must buy all the things. And then the fact that I'm autistic and there's that whole thing of like collecting and, you know, gathering things that I really enjoy and hyper fixating, it was like a perfect storm for me. But I also feel like the makeup industry and beauty industry as a whole just kind of brought us there, where we got a really weird idea of like what's normal. And I'm sitting here with like crazy amounts of palettes. I'm not sitting here being like, oh my god, I'm so perfect and I've got it all under control. No, I still buy way more than I need to, but I'm making some attempts. I'm trying. But my gorgeous friends, that is it. I am planning on doing a swatching Sunday this week, so hopefully tomorrow, or today as you're watching, tomorrow, which is today for you, which is a Saturday, is my birthday, but I'm hoping to sit down and do some filming of swatching Sundays, and I have a Gloss Gods palette the newest one. So I'm planning on going through that and we'll have a little chat. But essentially, my friends, that is it. Thank you so much for watching. Do please like, comment and subscribe. Turn on that notification bell simply because it's polite. And do please share, because sharing is caring, except of course for STDs, in which case, just wrap it up. Don't be gross. But that's it. That's the end of the video and I will talk to you guys in the next one. Bye.